so we're recording. It's episode 5 of For the Record podcast. I'm here with Dylan Waterman. Just released his debut EP, Kid Capricorn. You want to introduce yourself, Dylan?
Hello, everyone. I am Dylan Waterman. Like she said, just released my debut EP, Kid Capricorn.
And, all right, let's start with questions. All right, so what would you say was your main inspiration when you were writing this? Or did you write and, produce everything for this? Or did you have, it mixed and mastered and all that kind of stuff?
I did a couple of the tracks in my house, and then I brought them to a studio in Wilmington called King Creative. And it was a mix of doing some production at King Creative, and all the mastering and mixing was done there, but some production was done at my house.
Okay.
Welcome Home, Virginia was done entirely in a bathroom at Fairleigh Dickinson.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, but not mostly, but a mix between my house and King Creative.
Okay. All right, so we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast. So you went to Fairleigh Dickinson for a semester for musical theater.
Right.
So what really made you think, school is not for me, I should pursue music? What drove you to that point?
I knew before I went to school that I didn't want to go to school, but I figured I would try it out for the sake of just trying out, because you don't know.
And for the security, too.
Right. And partway through, I realized that there was definitely more that I wanted to do in the real world, and I felt very safe at school, and I've never been a fan of safe, so I wanted to fail firsthand and not read about failing. I wanted to go out and maybe, not book anything for the first 6 months, which I didn't. But I learned so much in those 6 months, and after a year, I'm finally where I wanted to be. So, to answer your question, I'd say I knew before I went to school that I didn't want to go to school anymore.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool, though. I mean, that's really, brave, honestly, because a lot of people will say that they want to do that, but then won't actually go through with it. So, I mean, kudos to you for actually following your dreams. So for this EP, what would you say were the artists that influenced you the most, or anyone that you drew inspiration from, basically?
There's a lot, because since I don't belong to a label, I knew that I wanted to let out as much creative juices as possible, and I didn't have to pick any genre. So each song is inspired by, so a song like How Do You Know is inspired by D'Angelo, but a song like Welcome Home, Virginia is inspired by Bon Iver. So basically any artist you can think of was going through my mind when I was making this. Lydia, it is a pop song now, but originally it was a very John Mayer EP ballad type thing. And I was listening to Charlie Puth in the car one day, and I was like, that's the kind of song that I want to make.
Add a little
so I went to the studio and we just made it. So definitely a whole bunch of artists went into the process.
I was gonna say, because just in listening to it all the way through, you can really tell the difference of influences that are all mixed in
exactly
there.
What I was going for.
It sounds like a collective piece, but there is a lot of sonic difference between each song, and I love that about it. That's what's really cool about it. So how long did this project take you from start to finish? From the very first concept to all the way to the mastering process?
I wrote Taking My Time right when I left school in January.
Okay.
After that, I didn't write for a bit because I was...
Oh, my watch is going off. Sorry,
That's
guys.
okay. I don't understand either. I wrote Taking My Time right when I left school in January. I didn't write after that because I was still auditioning in New York, and I was in cover bands and whatnot. And then about in August I started writing again, and that's when I went to the studio. So I'd say in total, if you add January, it was about a year, but excluding when Taking My Time, it's about 4.5 months.
Okay. That's really not that long, honestly, to complete a project. Sorry everyone on the podcast. My dad is talking to me in the background. Okay, so what would you say was your favorite song to write and record? Either the same song or two different songs.
My favorite song to write was... It's a tough one. The most rewarding song to write was March 1961, but my favorite song to write was Welcome Home, Virginia.
Okay.
I was in a bathroom when I wrote it, and just the entire aura of this very beige bathroom, and I knew I needed a song at the end of the EP that worked a little bit better than the one that I had. So it's a tie between those two. And you asked me which one was my favorite to record. How do you know? Definitely, how do you know?
Did you do all of the instrumentals, or did you bring people in to do the instruments?
It is... I have my producer, his name is Ismail Abdul Salam. We call him Ish. He played bass and guitar on some of the tracks, and I played bass and guitar on some of the tracks. I did all the keyboard parts, but it's just a mix between him and I on it.
Okay, cool. And then just kind of like Logic tracks, all that kind of in between. Yeah, so going into this actually works perfectly. This is my next question. March 1961 is definitely my favorite song on the EP, and I just want to know what is the story behind this? What like, where did this come from, this concept of March 1961, sitting in a diner?
It plays... I can't explain March 1961 without explaining... do you mind if I go into the entire EP as a whole?
Go for it.
I knew I wanted a concept EP. I didn't want to just make individual songs because that bores me. And the audience probably wouldn't tell that it's a concept EP without me saying something. But in my head, it was easier for me to write songs if I knew that there was some sort of arc. So we do follow this demise of our relationship from the talking stage to after the breakup. And March 1961 comes at this stage, and I could relate to it as an artist. I think a lot of musicians can. This feeling of having a good thing in your life, but feeling like you need to do more with your career, whether that be putting your family aside or your girlfriend or your boyfriend aside to find yourself. So we follow this untrustworthy narrator who justifies his immaturity and his ignorance in the name of trying to better himself in his career. So that's where March 1961 came from, was this guy who feels like his career is more important than the people that he has in his life. That's basically the layman's of the song. Okay.
So March and the year is completely arbitrary, or is that linked to something?
It's just a mindset that someone's in. March 1961, this mindset of, oh, I need to do better in my career and forget the people that helped me get there.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Because I was like looking stuff up. I was like, is that like a historical event? Like, did something happen during that time? Yeah. Like that it's linked to? But no, that's cool. Like, I like that it's very personalized and it's just kind of, it's a story. Yeah. It's just a story, you know? It's kind of like if you've ever listened to The Wonder Years, and then the lead singer has his own side project called Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, but the whole side project, Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, it's a made-up character. It's just, it's a storyline that he is like a concept. So I like that you kind of followed the same suit. Okay, well, we kind of already talked about what led you to leave school and kind of start your career. You kind of already talked about that. Do you have anything that you're working on currently, or you're just kind of still, you know, riding the wave of releasing this project?
I have a whole slew of songs that are unreleased. Obviously, only 6 songs are out. This EP is the first thing I've done. But I'm happily and confidently in a position where I'm open to anything. I'm not trying to cut any corners or trying to book any venues that are bigger than I can do or get into the studio anytime soon. I will say, though, I'm good friends with both of the members in Lowercase People, who are a local group.
Yeah.
But
shout out.
Yeah, Noah Saunders and I have been talking about working together because we're on the same wavelength, I think, mentally in our music tastes. So that's something that...
Would you consider playing at Rowan? Because I was going to ask about that. Because, I mean, I know Lowercase People plays a lot of, like, grown-up shows.
I will play anywhere.
Cool,
I will play
cool.
Anywhere.
I mean, I definitely... I mean, that would be awesome to see you at a show at Rowan. Like, I feel like that's your, like, group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the type of people you want to,
I love playing, and my
by.
band members all go to Rowan too, so I think they'd enjoy it too.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So that kind of goes into, I wrote down, who would you say is your target audience? Like, are you going for a younger audience, or are you going for...
Well, based on my Instagram analytics, my target audience are females from the ages of 18 to 22. So there we go. That's my target audience.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
To elaborate, or to, I guess, go more into that, I'm in a weird situation because the music I listen to, the audience I'm in isn't the audience that I'm playing for, which is tough. Which is tough for me to kind of accept, because I listen to jazz, and those are the people that I want to be playing for. But jazz people don't listen to songs like Lydia, so I kind of have to, I have to kind of put myself together in public and look nice and make myself presentable.
Right.
Which is like, but I'm learning all this audience stuff.
Because I guess it goes kind of hand in hand with. I know it's not all about the money, but you want to make some kind of profit. You want to see some kind of return on investment here. You're putting all this time and money and effort into these songs and writing them, and so you want to kind of see that come back to you, kind of thing. So, I guess that's what it's all about. It's not all about selling yourself, but somewhat selling yourself. You gotta make yourself marketable.
You have to understand what the business is.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any shows that you've booked that you want to promote on here, that you want to tell people about? Or any shows that you've played recently that you just want to talk about and how they went, kind of thing?
The only show that I have booked is tomorrow, and it's sold out within a day and a half. So I can't really promote anything.
Yeah, I was going to say that, I'm not going to release this until next week. Yeah, and it's going to be released
till forever. But, I played a show at my studio, which went really, really, really well. So
was that your album release show?
It was the official album release. I had a house party show, which was the technical release, but
right.
And that was really fun. Lowercase People played there too, and Afton they played, and College
Clovis. Yeah, I'm familiar with all of them because they're all like Rowan people.
But no, that was a fun show, and then I played my my studio show the week after that, and then now I have this show a week after all that tomorrow, which will be a cool show at the winery. Cool. I hope.
Yeah, sold out show. That should be. And I feel like the winery is the Auburn Road Winery for people listening who are not aware. I feel like that's a really good vibe for your sound. I feel like that's gonna match your sound really well. So that should be good. I wish you luck. All right. So my next question, we're getting towards the end here. Let me see how long this is. Okay, because I only want this to be 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be super long. So if you could collaborate with any musician, dead or alive, who would it be, and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I would collaborate with. Can I answer? I'll keep it true.
Do it. No, you can do it as long as.
I'll keep it true to one. You know what? You know what I'll say? I will say, and truthfully, I will say, I would collaborate with Noah Saunders.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say, and I will say that because
I hope he listens to this podcast. Tell him to listen to the podcast.
This is a prime example. I think this is a good life lesson. Just because you can have something doesn't mean you need it. So of course there are producers like Jay Dilla, who passed away, and there are people like Charlie Puth and John Mayer, who's my idol. But I would feel more comfortable and more at home working with Noah, because I know him and I are on the same wavelength. We've grown up in South Jersey together, and I think us working together would make sense rather than me trying to oversell myself and get myself with someone that I don't necessarily need.
I think that's a great answer, honestly. Do you guys have anything planned to collaborate in the future, or you're just
going in the studio one day and just messing around?
Yeah,
that's all we have planned.
That would be great. I would love to see something come out of that. Honestly, that would be really cool. All right, this is my last real question. I just threw this in there for fun. I don't know if you even have a stance on this, but Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Team Jacob.
Do you want to back that up for the audience?
I'll say that because he is more relatable as someone that is brown myself. For the viewers at home, I am half black. Jacob isn't half black, but he's brown, and I can look
Native
at him.
American.
Yeah,
Sure.
I can look at him and say, "Oh, hey, that looks like me."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair point. Representation is very important.
Exactly.
So on that note, I think that really concludes everything I wanted to ask. If there's anything else you want to say or talk about, if you want to plug yourself, drop all your plugs.
Yeah, sure.
All your social media.
You can follow me on any social media site at Mr. Dylan Waterman, and you can find Kid Capricorn on any streaming platform, and support local artists.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Support local music. All right. that's it for episode 5, guys. Thank you, Dylan, so much for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
And being on the podcast. I really appreciate it, and I'm interested and excited to see more from you.
Thank you very much.
So, all right. That wraps it up.